regreso aquí en Auto 060. Estuvimos ahí, como decíamos, manejando el Subaru WRX 2015 en California con un motor pequeño de 4 cilindros turbocargado, y es uno de los modelos, de los motores que está en la lista de Test Best Engines for WardsAuto.com. And to talk about that, we're going to go with Drew Winter from WardsAuto.com to talk about the whole list of the Test Best Engines for 2014. So now with Drew Winter from WardsAuto.com, talking about the new big award that you're going to give out at the Detroit Auto Show. How are you, Drew?
I'm doing great. Nice to talk to you.
Thank you. So can you tell us a little bit about these awards for people who maybe didn't know about it now in our audience? Can you explain a little bit how this process goes on to pick up the best engines for 2013?
Yeah, sure. This is actually our 20th year of evaluating engines in U.S. vehicles, and our testing usually runs from about October and November, and we go through, we tested 44 vehicles this year, and where we specifically evaluate the powertrain and the engine, and we picked the 10 best engines then, and we announced the list last week, and then we have a formal award ceremony during supplier days of the North American International Auto Show, which we'll have in January 15th next year.
So that's a pretty daunting task, huh? Like testing all those engines, because how's the process of testing an engine specifically? Because most of us in the media just test drive the car in general, but how do you go so specifically into determining what's the best engine?
Well, we have some a number of things we look at. We look at the technical features of the engines, the horsepower and specific output, and features in new technology and issues like that. And then we also have subjective categories related to noise. Well, we call them the industry noise, vibration, and harshness, as you know, or the consumer looks at it from really a refinement standpoint. And one of the key things we look at is how well an engine really in itself helps sell a vehicle, attracts a vehicle, gives the vehicle personality. We've been doing this for 20 years now, so we've got a pretty good feel for it.
Yeah.
And we also have, since the awards gained, quite a bit of notoriety in the industry, we also have a lot of times powertrain engineers will meet with us and tell us about specific important features of the engine and things along those lines. So we go into it in quite a bit of depth, and we've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah. So I guess one of the big trends in this year's list is a lot of diesels, right? More than hybrid and electrics.
Yeah, this year we had 3 diesels, 1 electric vehicle, and also a lot of turbocharged and supercharged engines. But the diesels were a big thing. We also had for the first time our first 3-cylinder. So just to kind of start off with the diesels, this was a big year for them when we saw it in the diesel in the Cruise. Started off, but that's a really good engine. We had it's an affordable car, and these kinds of diesels are real popular in Europe, of course, but in the U.S. it's still pretty new. The Cruise diesel competes with really the most popular diesel in the U.S., which is the Jetta diesel now, the Volkswagen Jetta, and it's great fuel economy, and it's really quiet on the road, and that distinguished itself. We also were real impressed with the diesel in the new BMW 5 Series for different reasons. It's a luxury car engine, tons of power, but also terrific fuel economy. So that was real impressive.
Yeah.
And then And then the third diesel came in a light-duty pickup truck that was in the Dodge Ram. Also really impressive, extremely powerful, very quiet and vibration-free for a pickup truck. And in this case, you're talking about a really powerful engine that can give you a great fuel economy, like 25 miles per gallon in regular driving, but also the diesel really stands out when you're towing. You do a lot of towing of heavy loads.
Yeah.
So it stood out there.
So if we were to translate the benefits of this great work that you do testing these engines into the consumers who are picking up cars and looking into good deals, not only for price but also for mileage, I mean, this is a really almost a wake-up call for a lot of people who don't consider diesels, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and one of the things that people, I mean, there are a few things. One is cost, just of the car itself, because diesels are a little bit more expensive, but also the actual fuel is more expensive in, I guess, most of the states. I don't know. And here where I live in Florida, it's definitely more expensive. It's almost as expensive as the premium fuel. So are those some of the things that are preventing people from getting into diesels here in the States?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw in 2008 where diesel was a lot more expensive than regular, but still, when you get diesel fuel efficiency of 20 to 30% better fuel economy, it's still worth your while for right now anyway for a diesel. But what you get more with the diesel engine that people maybe are less familiar with is how much torque and fun to drive characteristics you get with a diesel, which you really don't get with say a comparable hybrid that may get similar fuel economy. You get also very quiet cruising on the road. So, but if you're looking strictly a fuel economy basis, if you do highway driving, the diesel really makes sense. If you do mostly stop and go, in California or whatever, diesels make less sense because that's really where hybrids excel. But there are a lot of misconceptions that consumers still have about diesels that have really gone away, about the idea that they are very noisy or they smell or anything like that. What you get with a new diesel now is something that is very efficient, very quiet, and you get also very excellent range where you can go up to maybe 800 miles on one tank of fuel. So that there are a lot of benefits to diesels that Americans really still aren't fully aware of.
Yeah, that's a pretty impressive. Actually, one of our colleagues just did a trip from Chicago to Texas on a Jeep diesel and just non-stop. In terms of refueling, he probably stopped for going to the bathroom or something, but not for refueling. So you also mentioned there's a few turbo engines that are in your top 10 list.
Well, yeah, I mean, what we're seeing now with engines to meet fuel economy standards now, engines are all being downsized and to increase fuel economy, but then to give them still the horsepower and the torque that the consumers still demand. Most engines now are being either turbocharged or supercharged. Now, I don't know how much you want to get involved in that, but essentially we're seeing engines that are now much smaller than they used to be, but they're just as powerful or more powerful than consumers are used to. So, I mean, one of the big ones that is really significant is the 1 liter EcoBoost that's in the new Ford Fiesta, and that's a tiny little engine. I mean, there's a lot of motorcycles with that size engine in them. It only has 3 cylinders, which may turn off consumers the idea of it, but this is a really powerful engine for its size, thanks to turbocharging and some other technical features like direct injection. It makes 123 horsepower from that 1 liter, and even more, a ton of torque. And there's a tiny little engine that gets 45 miles per gallon on the highway, and it's a lot of fun, and it's in a car that starts at about $16,000.
Yeah.
And so what you get here is terrific. You know, you get a powerful little engine with terrific fuel economy that doesn't really give you the impression of a typical entry-level engine. It's got a good exhaust note, and it's a lot of fun to drive, and that's why I made our list. It's really efficient and fun to drive and affordable, and that's one of the key things that put it on the list this year.
Yeah. So Formula One is going back to turbos next year, so I guess there's something to talk about that, and that makes sense, I guess, from the consumer. It's completely different, but the actual technology of a turbocharge in an engine is something that is coming back. So we're talking to Drew Winter from WardsAutos.com about the 10 best engines for 2000, what is it, 14 or 13? I'm confused now.
2014,
yeah,
2014.
Exactly. And Drew, where can our audience go and look for more information about Wards Auto?
Sure, you just go to WardsAuto.com, and then you can just search on the site for 10 best engines if it isn't up on the front page, and you'll just find more information than you probably ever want to know about engines and what makes a great engine for consumers.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you very much, Drew Winter from WardsAuto.com, and again, the award is going to be given at the Detroit Auto Show, right, next month.
Yep.
Thank you very much, and enjoy your winter there.
Okay, great talking to you again.
Thank you, bye.
Yeah.
Bueno, ahí tienen toda la información a este premio tan prestigioso de WardsAuto.com que va a ser entregado en el Auto Show en Detroit en enero próximo, así que muy interesante. Ya regresamos, esto es Auto 060, yo soy Javier Mota.